Trump Derangement Syndrome of the day, Trump's address to Congress edition. Here we go.
While I didn't watch it, I was looking for signs of an opposition party, which is what the Democratic Party must be at this point, not a resistance, because resistance is passive. Opposition is active. And I think that what I saw when
resistance is not useless enough.
Representative Al Green stood up and said, you don't have a mandate to take away Medicaid. And he was tossed out. I expected the rest of his Democratic caucus, the rest of his colleagues to walk out with him. Because alone you can survive, but
people are clapping to that. I actually was wondering if Democrats would fall into the trap. Why are you defending that?
Together you thrive. That is the energy that we need. They should have stood with him in solidarity. And we had Karine Jean-Pierre here on this show yesterday, and she said we have to have a sense of urgency as we move forward, and we cannot do it the way we have in the past. This is not normal. It is a five-alarm fire. And what I want to say to the Democrats is you can't play by the rules with a party that has thrown away the rule book.
I can't believe, well, I guess I can, that people are defending that. Moving on. Okay, here's Rep. Crockett, who's been like a content factory lately.
You could do a sequel. If you could tell Donald Trump anything tonight, what would you tell him?
I would tell him to grow a spine and stop being Putin's hoe.
First of all, thank you.
Stop being Putin's hoe. That's a real statement from a congressperson. Amazing. Moving on. Okay, this next clip, she's talking about DJ Daniel, who you see pictured there on screen. Trump honored him in his speech.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer.
Okay, stop the quote there. That's good. Move on. That's not what happens.
But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope...
I'm not even going to repeat what she said. That, Trump Derangement Syndrome is not a strong enough term. We're I don't know if you used to play Pokemon. I probably sound like a huge nerd. It's evolving. Trump Unhinged Syndrome, that's probably not even strong enough. What do you think in the comments? I don't even want to repeat what she said. That's one of the most ridiculous things, though, I've ever heard on television.
Sir, Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, of course, a Democrat, but it's a state that Donald Trump won. He beat the Harris-Walz ticket. He posted this on Twitter today. He called last night what happened with Democrats last night, a sad cavalcade of self-owns and unhinged petulance. And he said it only makes Trump look more presidential and restrained. And he says we're becoming the metaphorical car alarms that nobody pays attention to, and it may not be the winning message.
That entire statement I don't agree with, but decently based there from Fetterman.
You say to that?
Well, I totally disagree with it. Did Senator Fetterman listen to the speech? Did he listen to the unhinged nature of the things that were being put out?
How can you totally disagree with that? What is happening?
I don't know, the count stopped at 60 of falsehoods, misrepresenting and cheering an unelected richest man in the world as he decimates the VA system. So, look, I'm friends with Senator Fetterman. We've met on several occasions. I couldn't disagree with him more. And the decorum that used to be there, this false reporting, you've been there, Casey. Many of your panel members have been there to watch Joe Wilson yell, "You lie" at Barack Obama, or everything else that's happened. So,
look, Tim Walz would be correct there in the sense that would not be the first time there were poor manners in a government setting, in a House of Congress, what have you. I think last night, though, was a step up. It was way over the top, so embarrassing, and just the prolonged nature of it.
Focus here is on Donald Trump's misplaced policies that aren't improving the lives of Minnesotans and members of every state. And I think, look, Donald Trump may have won the vote. It doesn't mean that his policies right now. People didn't vote for chaos. That's where the embarrassment is. I wouldn't worry about Democrats holding up a sign, and I wouldn't worry about Al Green trying to use freedom of speech. I would worry.
Freedom of speech. What do the Democrats think should have happened there? The entire speech is just him shaking the cane?
Trump is destroying in this country, and so that's what we're focused on out here.
So, Governor.
By the way, a lot of people actually liked the speech.
To the results, what was your reaction to Trump's speech? 44% of speech watchers in our instant poll tonight say they had a very positive reaction to Trump's speech. 25% somewhat positive, 31% negative.
Okay, here's a funny one of Senator Warner, Democrat, praising Trump, but kind of trying to walk it back on immigration. He just kind of squirms. It's funny.
In order to fix the immigration issue at the border, the crisis as he calls it, all you needed was a new president. You didn't need legislation. No legislation's necessary. You just needed a new president. That got a lot of big cheers from Republicans. You were saying on Fox News, I believe it was yesterday, that Donald Trump has done a good job at the border.
And if he'd come in and done things like, the president's made great progress on border crossings. That's something we ought to celebrate. On the border, I give him good marks. On lowering prices, I think you're going to see the absolute opposite over the next 30 days.
So do you agree with that assessment that Donald Trump is the only thing that's needed to change the circumstances at the border?
I think it is good that we're at a 25-year low in terms of border crossing. My words yesterday, they were not great. Let me be the first to acknowledge that. And I think what he's doing to our economy and our
Why weren't they great? Why weren't they great?
Because the notion that the numbers are down, which I think is good for America, and I think the vast majority of Americans realized President Biden didn't have a secure enough border. Those numbers are down. That's good news for our country. But the idea that that becomes an ability to sanction ICE to have, unfettered immigration raids doesn't make sense. So
and that is so funny. You could tell he's just in his head oh no, I'm praising Trump again. How do I get out of this?
Choice of words yesterday, I'd like to take him back. The data does exist on the numbers being down. What we've got to do going forward, and we again heard last night.
He pretty much praised him again, though. I think he basically praised Donald Trump on immigration twice there, 2 times in a row, and he's just sitting there oh no, what am I doing?
From a president who had a State of the Union that, I'll stand by my words, was the least amount of outreach to anybody who didn't vote for him, that doubled down on all the MAGA issues. Wasn't a good night for America last night.
He just throws that in. And again, as I said, lots of people like the speech. But with that said, thank you very much for watching. Like the video if you get a chance, please. That helps the video in the algorithm, and sometimes I just forget to say that. But like the video, leave a comment. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.